Good morning. Happy Monday, guys. I hope you guys had a restful weekend. I'm here with another word, a change of scenery, and I have a good word for you. And I'm going to just tell you guys. I read this morning. This is First Kings chapter 17. Specifically 8 to 24 is where we're going to be at today. And I just want to tell you. So, when I read it, I grasped something from it and I was like, I feel like there's more there. I feel like there's more. And so I told myself, I'm going to come back to this and read a little bit more. And I did some things this morning and I was like, okay, I'm going to go back. And so I was rereading this passage and went online and I researched a little bit more. And what I got is like God is so good at showing us so much through his word. And I just want to really encourage you all that if you are in your walk with Christ and you are reading the Bible for the first time, like I am, like it is okay to not know what you're reading sometimes. Sometimes you kind of feel it, like the way that I did. I felt, hey, you know what? God is trying to teach me something. Even in the note section from the Bible, like some Bible was like, okay, like that makes sense, right? But I still felt like there was more that God wanted to teach me in that moment. So I went back. There's a lot of commentaries and stuff online that you can, go through. But I really want to give you guys today's word because it's pretty good regarding how sometimes God wants us to act in faith with the little that we have, right? And this is such a good word for me. Like literally, I am so grateful that God like put this specific chapter in my life today because it speaks to me so much through what I'm going through right now. And I just pray that if this is something that you're going through, that hopefully it teaches you something and that you can hear God's voice through this word. So anyways, let's get into it. So this is First Kings chapter 17 verse 8 through 24. And so what's happening right now is Elijah, who's a prophet, he's in a place that has been in drought and famine. So there's like nothing there. The Lord speaks to him and tells him, he initially tells him, go to this place and the ravens will bring you food. So he literally goes and the ravens are bringing him food, right? And then he calls them out to go to a place called Zarephath. Again, I have no idea if that's how you say it, but we're just going to go with it. And Zarephath is not even in Israel. It's like in an outside place. And yet the Lord is telling him, go there and there's going to be a widow who is going to be feeding you. Like she's going to give you your food. So Elijah, as a prophet, a man of God, he does what the Lord asks him. He goes to and sees a widow and she's gathering sticks. And he tells her, the Lord has told me that you will be giving me your, some food. And the widow is like, dude, I am picking up sticks and preparing my last meal for my son and I, and then we're going to die. Like literally. She says, I only have a handful of flour and a little oil. I'm preparing it so we can eat and then die. Like super blunt. The lady's like not joking. She's like, bro, you're asking me to give you something when I barely have enough to get by today. So Elijah is like, he tells her basically, don't be afraid. This is what the Lord has said. He has said that if you give me a meal from your food, that then he's going to make sure that you don't run out of flour or oil until this drought ends. And so what does she do? She believes him. She does what she can with what she has. She acts in faith. And then God comes through and basically the flour and the oil never run out during this drought. So here are some of the takeaways that I gathered and like what I read is that faith often is going to require us to act with the little that we have, and God's asking us to move in that. This can be either in like giving, like provision, resources, right? It can be to trust someone. It can be to serve someone before we actually see the provision that he has. If he were to like give us everything that we're going to get, we're going to have a less like desire to give. And then there would be no faith involved in that, right? Faith is about doing and acting without seeing the end result. So the widow in this case, she had to take the little that she had, use it in faith, and she could have said no. She could have been like, you know what? I barely have money. I'm not going to give you I barely have food, I'm sorry. I'm not going to give you any of this because I just want to hold it for myself, and it's just for me and my child, right? Like, how many times have you been in a situation like that where you literally have like $100 in your bank account, and if you're needing to give to somebody, it's really easy to automatically say like, no, I'm good. Like I'm going to use this money for what I need, and that's it, right? We have to remember that when sin entered our lives through Adam and Eve in the garden, we became just very selfish. We became about ourselves. Like, we covered ourselves because of our sin, right? We became very selfish. And the act of being selfless and giving to others is not something that is natural to us. Like, our flesh is going to fight against trying to help others, and instead we're going to be drawn to be selfish and to just want for ourselves and to keep. And that is not just in resources. That can just be, like I mentioned, it could be in like trusting. It can be in serving. It's real easy to serve those that are nice to you, but it's not that easy to serve those that are not nice, right? You may hate your job and you're like, I don't want to go and do a good job because my boss sucks or because my coworkers suck, right? But it's during that time that God wants you to act in faith. He wants you to act as if he is the one, and he is, not that you have to act like it, but we have to remember that he is the one that is looking at us. He is watching what we do. He is wanting to see how well we walk in our faith and how much we stand in that, stand our ground in that, right? The point is that having faith and acting in faith is not going to be easy, like ever. It takes intention to have faith. It takes effort to have faith. It takes effort to be selfless. It takes effort to do things for others and to think about others rather than to think about yourself, right? I'll give you an example just because, like, I feel like it's easy to give examples about this. But my husband and I have daily duties that we kind of have, through the years, have figured out that this is just what we do. I usually take care of my daughter for like the nighttime duties, and he takes care of the boys. And at night, he's usually preparing the kids like snacks for the following day for them to take to school. And there are days that I am like caught up with my daughter, and I'm like, okay, I got to give you a bath. I got to do this. And then she wants this, and she wants snacks, and then she wants all of this stuff, right? Not to mention the fact that I still have to get myself ready and go to bed, right? My husband, has his duties, and he's putting the boys to sleep, and he's, making sure that they took a bath and whatever, right? And sometimes he is staying late trying to get the snacks ready and all of that. And it's real easy for me to just be like, well, that's just his duties. Like, that's just what he does. And I'm doing my own thing, and that's it, right? But there are days that I know that it's going to be a busy day. Maybe there's a day where for example, on Mondays that I'm usually home, I pick up the kids usually a little bit earlier. So I pick them up, bring them home. I get all their backpacks and lunch boxes out of their backpack, and I'm taking, cleaning things out. Like, I could just be like, you know what? My husband will do it when he comes home. Like, he'll do it when he gets out of work, tired and hungry. He'll find time in his day to get the lunch boxes out of the kids' backpacks, and I'm just going to go on with my duties. Like, it's so easy to just do that, right? But if I have the energy and the ability and the capability and the love that I have for my husband and my children, and the time and the resources, like, if I am able, why would I not take that little effort to say, you know what, right now I have a couple of like minutes. I have 10 minutes before I have to go take my son to basketball. I am going to take all the lunch boxes out, get all the cold stuff, put the little ice packs, put them in the freezer, clean their containers, and then before we have to leave, I have a couple of minutes to get a few snacks ready and prepared for the following day. Like, I could do that, right? And we can and we should. The whole point is that sometimes you may feel like you don't have it in you. You don't have the energy, you don't have the time, and you have your own things that you got to worry about. But God wants us to find to use what you have and to utilize it to serve other people. And like, I feel like so many times we just want to see the provision. We want to see like what do we get out of this? We want to see that before we do the thing, right? And God wants us to do everything the opposite of what we feel. And it's so easy to get caught up in that. Like, that's a simple example, but there's so many things. Like, when you're at church and you're tithing, how easy is it to be like, you know what, today I'm just going to give $10. God sees you. And if that comes from your heart, great, right? That is, I'm not talking about, not necessarily about numbers, right? But if you are able, and the Bible tells us to give 10%, are you doing the 10%? There's days that I am like doing my tithing, and I literally have to fight my flesh to say, I think I'll keep this much this time. Because I'm thinking about the other bills I have to pay. I'm thinking about how I just got a new medical bill that I have to pay. I'm thinking about how my kids, activities after school are going to go up in price, right? It's so easy to just look at the obstacle, and we forget that we're serving a God that can do so much more than we give him credit for. Like, I wrote down, provision often comes in the middle of obedience, not before. Like, the widow didn't get a warehouse full of flour and oil before making the last meal, like before making the meal for Elijah. The miracle happened after she obeyed. All she had to do is like believe that the Lord, who she knew, was giving Elijah this command, and all she needed to do was to obey. She did it, and then the miracle happened. We often want to know the fullness of God's plan before taking the first step. And God wants us to trust him every step of the way, not just when you see the price, not just when you see the provision. He wants you to act in faith with the little that you have, where you're at, and allow him to do the rest. The other thing that I wrote down is, so Zarephath, whatever it's called, wasn't even in Israel. I feel like there are so many times that you may be in a situation where you're like, God, do you even see me? Do you even see me? Like, I come from the worst past. I have done horrible things. Like, I'm just a girl from South Texas. Like, God, nothing that I do is significant enough. Like, you've probably forgotten about me. You probably don't even hear my prayers. But I feel like in this story, God used somebody that was like, she wasn't even in Israel. She wasn't even one of God's chosen people. Like, she was a foreigner and a widow. And yet God was still able to use her for his miracles. So if you're in a situation right now where you're like, I just feel like he doesn't see me. I feel like he doesn't hear me. I feel like, why would he trust me with this? Why would he want to, this desire, this dream that I feel like he's given me, this, vision that he's given me. Why would he give it to me? I'm no one. I feel like this story reminds us that God can use anybody. He can use anybody. You just have to have faith that vision, that dream that he gave you is from him. And that regardless of what past you come from, regardless of where you come from in general, regardless of who you think that you are, we are who he says that we are. And he can do anything through anyone that is willing to be obedient. And then the last thing I want to say about this story is that scarcity doesn't scare God. Like, you may be in a situation where you're like, God, but I barely have the strength to keep going. Like, I am losing hope. I don't have enough. This world reminds us that we don't have enough money, that we don't have enough time, that we don't have enough opportunities, that we don't have enough grace, right? And yet God reminds us that it's not just about that. He's not just going to give us enough, but sometimes he's also going to give us abundantly more. That he can use the last bits of strength and hope and faith that you have and multiply it. But he wants us to show up with what we have, to act in faith with the little that we have, and to be honest too, to say, God, I don't know how much longer I can keep going. Last week, the day that I mentioned to you guys that I was like in a horrible mood, I felt like that day I was like losing hope about this thing that God has called me to. And I'm like, God, like, how much longer am I supposed to keep going? Like, how much longer do I keep doing it? Like, all I needed was like a little ray of sunshine, like a little glimpse of hope. Like, I wanted just like, God, show me something that I'm on the right track. Like, tell me where I should go, right? I had gotten to the point where I was like, God, I don't even want to see the big vision. I just want to see the next step, right? I was giving God the little that I had. God, like, this is all I have. Like, all I can do is like, I can just do this right now. I don't know that I have the strength to do all of this other stuff that you're calling me to do, but I can give you this. What do I do with this? And I feel like in that weakness, God's power is made. Like, he's going to show us his power. He's going to come and he's going to tell you, like, I can give you rest. I can give you the strength that you don't have. I can multiply the little that you have. But you need to act in faith. You need to take the steps. You need to move. You need to take action. And that maybe sometimes we don't have to be enough. We just have to remember and trust the one that is. So I don't know who this video is for. I really felt like this word was something that I really needed, because I mean, just like I mentioned, just last week, I had this day of just feeling like, God, I'm barely scraping by. Like, I feel like I can barely keep going with continuing to have this hope on this vision that you've given me. Like, I don't know how much more I can do. And he was able to lift that up and just remind me that he is enough and that I just have to focus on him. So I pray that this encourages you in whatever season you're in your life right now, that even if you feel like you don't have enough, that he is enough and that he will make things happen in his time. You just got to act with what you have faith in the little, and watch him do the rest. We'll see you guys tomorrow.